Recently, the government office revealed that Keir Starmer actually received more gifts from Lord Ali than what was reported a few weeks ago. What raises suspicion is that another luxury property went undeclared, and this has been exposed today. Clearly, something suspicious is happening here. Now, let's dive into this shocking revelation and catch up on other breaking news from across the country. But first, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss out on any hot updates and in-depth analyses from our channel. Just now, The Times reported that Lord Ali has continued to allow Team Starmer to use another luxury property. In the context of the ongoing donation scandal attracting attention, the Labour peer has facilitated Keir Starmer's use of a second property ahead of the upcoming general election. In recent weeks, Keir Starmer has faced intense scrutiny over receiving numerous gifts from Lord Ali, a millionaire fashion entrepreneur and former banker. Notably, Starmer has failed to fully disclose these gifts, particularly 3 luxury properties he has used for strategic meetings of the Labour Party ahead of the general election. The first is an £18 million apartment in Covent Garden, where Starmer and his family stayed throughout the election campaign. The second is a £2 million luxury clinic in Manhattan, where Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, took some time off last year. Lastly, the most recent is a £4 million property in Soho, London, where Starmer and his associates held significant election strategy meetings. Participants in these meetings included Pat McFadden, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and Sue Gray, Starmer's Chief of Staff. This has raised questions about whether these meetings were intended to prepare for a future Labour government. The Code of Conduct for MPs in the UK clearly states that any interest related to political activities must be declared. However, Starmer did not report the use of properties from Lord Ali. He might justify this by claiming that these assets were used for the greater group's benefit, thus he did not need to declare them as personal interests. This has led to strong criticism from political opponents. Many argue that Starmer is intentionally concealing his financial relationship with Lord Ali to avoid being seen as influenced by his wealth. The Conservative Party and the SNP quickly call for an investigation into the connection between Lord Ali and the Labour Party. They claim that these donations and gifts could be considered bribes in the form of presents to buy political influence. Not only Starmer, but also several other ministers in the Labour Party have been accused of receiving gifts from Lord Ali, including expensive clothing and special services from a personal shopper. Shocking revelations about the recent scandal came just after Labour MP Rosie Duffield left the party. Duffield is a prominent MP known for her strong voice on social issues and had previously been a fervent supporter of the Labour Party. However, her decision to resign has sparked significant controversy, and Starmer has been accused of being the main cause of her departure. Rosie Duffield did not hesitate to publicly criticise Starmer as a hypocrite. She accused him of accepting tens of thousands of pounds in gifts, including expensive clothing and luxury services from Lord Ali, while millions of pensioners are struggling with economic hardship. She argued that Starmer's acceptance of these gifts not only violates ethical standards, but also reflects a disconnect between politicians and ordinary people. This has heightened anger not just from social activists, but also from other politicians within the Labour Party, who feel that Starmer no longer represents the interests of the public. Duffield also emphasised that this is a clear sign of the political elite distancing themselves from the reality of public life. While leaders like Starmer live in luxury, ordinary people face cost of living crises, particularly in the post-Brexit era and in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Duffield's decision to leave the Labour Party may not only signify personal discontent, but also represent a growing wave of dissent within the party. The departure of an influential MP like Rosie Duffield could mark a significant turning point in Starmer's political career. The question arises whether this departure will be the beginning of a larger political crisis within the Labour Party, and whether Starmer can withstand these criticisms to maintain his leadership. In a political system where public trust is vital, Starmer's alleged concealment of assets and acceptance of gifts from wealthy tycoons could deal a significant blow to his personal reputation. Both his political opponents and his allies will be closely watching to see how Starmer responds to these escalating pressures. Not only are there allegations of receiving gifts without disclosure, But Starmer and Rayner are also accused of declaring a lower value than the actual worth of the assets they received from Lord Ali. According to reports, the declared amount for the properties they used was only a few £1,000s, while their actual value far exceeds this figure. For instance, the property in Covent Garden, where Starmer and his associates stayed, is valued at £18 million. However, in the official declaration, Starmer reported an amount below £10,000. This has raised public suspicions about Starmer's transparency and whether he intentionally downplayed the asset's value to avoid scrutiny. These allegations further exacerbate the situation as the public feels deceived. Questions arise about whether Starmer and his associates are deliberately using personal connections to gain advantages in political races, and whether this constitutes a serious violation of the ethics and code of conduct expected from a politician. Public opinion has seen mixed reactions, predominantly anger and disappointment regarding Keir Starmer's behaviour. Many people feel that while their lives are becoming increasingly difficult due to inflation and rising costs, the leaders of the government and the Labour Party are benefiting from wealthy connections without taking responsibility for their actions. The story of Starmer and Lord Ali has spread widely on social media. Criticism directed at Starmer is growing, not only regarding the acceptance of gifts, but also concerning his lack of transparency in his actions. Many believe that Starmer has undermined public trust in politicians and the Labour Party. This is not the first time a politician has been accused of exploiting their position for personal gain, but as a leader of the Labour Party, Starmer should have been a pioneer in ensuring integrity and transparency. Incidents like this only increase the suspicion that politicians are distancing themselves from the real lives of ordinary people, placing personal interests above all else. Given this information, do you think Keir Starmer is becoming embroiled in a political scandal that could severely damage his reputation and career? Do you agree with the criticisms directed at Starmer, or do you have a different perspective? Please leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. While public attention is focused on Starmer's case, another tragic event has occurred in Cumbria. An 8-year-old boy has died after being shot on a farm in this peaceful countryside area. The incident is currently under police investigation, and the cause of this tragic event remains unclear. The boy's death has shocked the community in Cumbria, an area known for its tranquility and infrequent serious violence. Police are working closely with experts to determine whether this was an accident or if it is related to criminal activity. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of gun ownership and use in England, despite the country having strict gun control regulations. Continued monitoring and tightening of gun regulations are essential to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Let's await the latest updates from the police investigation, and if you are interested in this topic, don't forget to follow us for the latest news from our channel. In another development, Derek Moore, a criminal sentenced to over 13 years in prison for defrauding elderly individuals and crimes related to possession of weapons and drugs, has been in the news. Moore executed numerous complex scams targeting the elderly and vulnerable, causing them to lose thousands of pounds. Moore's actions extended beyond fraud. He also possessed a large quantity of weapons and was involved in heroin trafficking. Following an extensive investigation, police arrested Moore and charged him with multiple serious offences. This case is a clear example of how crime not only targets vulnerable individuals, but also poses a significant threat to the community. Strict enforcement against criminals like Moore is necessary to protect public safety, particularly for vulnerable groups. If you are interested in learning more about cases like this, please share your thoughts, and we will continue to provide detailed information for you. If you find these issues important and believe they should be known by more people, please help us spread the information by liking, sharing this video, and subscribing to our channel so you don't miss any future analyses. We greatly appreciate your support.